Well, welcome back to another live stream. Hopefully the audio is better on this microphone this week. So welcome to another live. This is not sponsored. Turn that cup around. But man, I've been flying around here tonight and just went out and got a package that I wanted to kind of make one of our focuses tonight, but there was no guarantee it was going to show up, and it did show up. So we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing, and then we're going to dive into a closer look at the changes with ATEM Software Control 9.5. Now, we did a pretty thorough video last week, but I really wanted to talk about some of the options that you have now to go mobile with the ATEM Mini. So let me know if the audio is good. Seemed a little low. To put my water back here for now. The audio does seem just a little bit low. Let me know. Try to raise that up just a little bit. So let me know if the audio is good. So let's go ahead and put chat on the air and say hello to all of those of you that have popped in tonight. So let's see. Early bird tonight was Grish, and hopefully he's back in the chat. That was earlier today, followed by Tony from QuickTech Solutions. It's good to have you, Tony. We're going to be using the QuickTech Solutions camera angle tonight on the ATEM Mini Pro. So we'll look at that here shortly. So welcome, and good seats. Evidently, there's only one seat in each row because Tony said he's in the second row. It's good to have you here, Hank. I'm sitting right behind third base. Hank says hello. Let's see. Good to have Doug here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Chio, it's good to have you as well. Craig, great to have you. And you can see where these guys are from. Audio back to normal. What was the issue? Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but that's a great question. Clear audio, that's good. It's good to have you early in the morning there, David, from down under. That's awesome. Audio's A-OK. Audio is great. Ernesto, it's good to have you. Happy Tuesday to you as well. So Tony gets the first question here, so let's just address that. I think my ATEM Mini Extreme ISO #1 that I've been streaming from, recording videos, doing Zoom through, I think I'm losing mic input #1. Now, I remember having some issues in the past. I had a little hum and bought a power conditioner, plugged all of my ATEMs into a power conditioner to stop any kind of hum coming from the electricity in the house. But for some reason, everything kind of went south on me. And actually, since I was live last Tuesday, I think it was like 2 days, I think it was maybe Friday. Yeah, Friday last week. My Rodecaster Pro locked up on me. I pulled the USB-C power cable out of it, waited for about a minute, plugged it back in, heard like a cracking sound, did not sound good. Could not get the USB-C cable to plug in. Come to find out, somehow, by unplugging the USB-C cable, which I've done 50 times probably since I had that Rodecaster Pro too, but this time I went to plug it in, and I guess there was an issue in the power supply or the power cord, because the little end of that USB-C center little piece of black plastic, I guess, broke off. And now when you look in there, you see little exposed wires. The cable will not go in. And so I have reached out to Rode for repair. Should be still under warranty, because if you remember back a while, I had 2 Rodecaster Pros. So in case you're going to ask me tonight, I'm using my backup Rodecaster Pro 2. So I had to retune it for the room and EQ, and got things pretty well set up today where I'm happy with it. But I'm not using input #1 or mic input #1 on my ATEM Extreme ISO. I'm using input number 2. In fact, I have in my little Hosta switch, I have it come out of my Rodecaster Pro 2, right and left into my Hosta switch, which is basically just a right and left audio signal in 1/4 inch, and then it has 3 outputs. And so I'm using output 2 and 3 tonight, 2 being mic input number 2, and 1 or 3 being the normal setting I use. And so that cable was plugged into my extra extreme ISO, and to make a long story less long, I've had to pull that cable and use it in mic channel number 2. And so I can switch between 2 or 3 on my Hosta, and they're both going into channel 1 and channel 2 of my extreme ISO, which I'm streaming live. And we did talk about last week when I was streaming, I was averaging 7 to 9, and that was after I did the firmware update. Now I'm only averaging back to 611. I don't know what was going on, but I saw other streamers when they were streaming with the new firmware update. I saw them streaming at a higher bit rate at streaming high. And again, there's a number of settings that are available inside the ATEM Mini Pro ISO SDI, the extreme ISO, extreme SDI ISO. All of them have the ability to record at HyperDeck low, medium, high, and then you can stream usually at low, medium, and high, and that's streaming low, medium, high. So that means there's 6 different sizes of streaming available. H.264 is what the ATEMs encode at. And of course, if you have an ATEM, not the original ATEM Mini, but the ATEM Mini Pro and up, the firmware 9.5 does update that. So you download the new control software from Blackmagic Design. And we looked at that last week, where you go to do that. Something bothered my throat. Just really dry. So once you download that, I took you through the steps last week of how to update your ATEM by going into the setup settings and connection, which is, really where your ATEM is connected to your your network. And with that said, once you update that, we saw higher streaming rates at streaming high, and it's not doing it tonight. So I don't have a clue why that would change from last week to this week. I haven't streamed since last Tuesday, but I am streaming tonight. Let's change the lighting to this direction. Sorry about that. I had my camera 3 settings on my Elgato key lights, which brings me to tonight's second topic. Let's do this real quick. So that answers Tony question. So I'm using mic input number 2, and I get louder audio. So I think the preamp is dying in mic input number 1. And it's a $1,200 and some device by Blackmagic Designs. So the last thing in the world is I want one of my ATEM Extremes to die. I do have my Extreme number 2 that I can use. I also have my ATEM Mini Pro, which I'm using tonight because we're going to talk about it. But I sure hope that that thing lasts. I do have 1 mic channel left. And last time mic input 1 gave me trouble, but then it fixed itself. And I've had to reboot my ATEM number 1 a couple times too. Like tonight, it did not connect to my HyperDecks when I fired up the studio. And so I had to unplug the power cord and then repower it up, and then it connected immediately to my HyperDecks. The other thing I wanted to say is that I haven't had the disconnect problem with the HyperDecks that I've always had. What does that mean? It means that every time, let me just go ahead and show this. Every time, let's move this over here. Every time I would go into settings and check my HyperDecks, they would be disconnected. And one of the things that I discovered in the 9.5 firmware update is that they have icons now, and I don't have the disconnect problem. Every time I would boot up in the morning, probably 90% of the time, they'd be disconnected with an error message. I would have to remove the last digit in the IP address and then connect. When I got the error message, I'd have to put back the right number and then connect, and it would connect up. Now it's connecting every time I boot up, except for one time today. And I think it's just because my ATEM Extreme #1, ISO #1 was off the network. And so wasn't communicating to anything on my network for whatever reason. So lots of cool things to discuss tonight in the 9.1 software, 9.5 software. But I want to focus in tonight on one of the things that I think helps you out now with using the ATEM Mini Pro. So I've hooked up my ATEM Mini Pro. I'm streaming to my streaming bridge. I can bring it into tonight's live stream. It is right here. There might be just a little bit of lip delay. You have to let me know if my lips are synced up. But we are going to use this. So I do have it coming in from my ATEM Mini Pro. I have camera #3 hooked up to it, so I could turn to that camera again. So this camera is hooked up to it. So let me know how far off my lips are. So I am using ATEM Mini Pro with my 5D Mark IV Canon plugged into channel 1. Channel 2, I have my iPhone to shoot down on the ATEM Mini Pro. We're going to show you that, guys, here in a minute. And then I also have my HyperDecks shuttle plugged into it. And I'll reboot it here in a minute. It's not currently playing. Yeah, it is. There we go. Hit stop. So I'm going to be able to show you guys that because I really want to talk about how you can use your laptop, OBS, you can use a confidence monitor, a multi-view monitor, and you can take this as a mobile setup, and you have more options now that they updated the USB-C out port of the ATEM Mini Pro, and they also did that in the Extreme, and we'll talk about that tonight as we finish up saying hi to everybody in the chat. Okay, I will push record. Thank you for that, Tony. I would like the 9. Let's see. I like the 9.5 update, but I want to have the recording from the ATEM, so I cannot get full benefits since I only have the one USB. And that's true. Chio, you only have one USB-C out of the ATEM Mini Pro. You can record into OBS. And so we'll talk about options tonight. We're going to focus in on that device here in just a minute. Good to have you here tonight, Jay. And let's see. Yeah, QuickTech camera is 4 to 5 frames off. So I will boost the frame delay when we get over to that camera here shortly to see if I can get the audio to catch up from video on that. Right now I'm using 4 frames of delay, so I have up to 8, so I will crank that up when we change over to that again. Yeah, the older HyperDeck minis, Jay, are not supposed to be able to go to the network from what I can read. Also, they don't have any updates. So I have an old HyperDeck Mini. It's the one that has A and B SDI outs for key and fill. And none of the firmwares in over a year now have worked to update that device. But it does update that the new 8.4 update for the HyperDeck did update it for network support. Now, I haven't played around with the HyperDeck network support. I thought about playing around that with tonight's video. But as of right now, my HyperDeck is not communicating with my network. You do have to set that up inside your network. And probably Jay and some of you guys know how to do that faster than me. I did watch a video this week that takes you through those steps. So I do plan on setting up my HyperDeck HD Plus so that I can record to the network and play back from my network, which means that I could pick any location on my network. I only have a 1G network in the house, and it only has a 1G port. So it wouldn't matter if I had 10G or not. It's still only going to be able to go from the speed of that HyperDeck HD Plus port, and it's only 1G. Where Some of the newer devices, like the new HyperDeck 4K, I believe, that came out, it's about $3,000. It has a 10G Ethernet port in it. But most of the HyperDecks that came out about a year and a half ago, all the big updates, they have 1G ports. Good to have you, Glenn. Yeah, I mean, I do have, obviously, the power supply is supposed to take out the hum from the power in the house, but you're right. I've used those before in my recording studio, so that my all of my sound devices, like at the time I was using the PreSonus 2444 console. It was the first version. They had the 16, they had the 24, and it was plugged into a de-hummer before it went to any place else. Jay had a good stream last night. We talked about a production truck for sale and told a couple of good stories. Yeah, so go ahead and go over after tonight's live stream and check out thje's live stream. I did not get a chance to see it again last night. I got a chance to be on part of Aaron Parecki's on Sunday. It was a really good live stream. Chio says, I have my HyperDeck connected to the network. Basically, I use Telnet to make the connection. Cool. Yeah, so again, the new 8.4 HyperDeck update and firmware update allows you to communicate to your network. You just have to set up your network so that your HyperDeck can see it, because if it's not been allowed, or if you haven't opened up the ports or given permissions for it to communicate with your network, then it's not going to be able to communicate up the chain to be able to access files. So if it's Windows or Mac, you'll have to go in and set up file sharing. Now, Doug Johnson on his channel just did a video on this. So if you'd like to know how to set up your HyperDeck, Doug Johnson does have a really good video on that. That's the one I was watching yesterday. I will make a note to post that in the description below so you guys can go check that out. Okay. I used Telnet because I was connecting it to my NAS. Cool. No, Kamal, good to have you tonight. I have not had any experience with the Behringer X Touch, though I have used Behringer equipment before, but I have not used that device. A friend of mine has a sound system that uses Behringer stuff, and so I've played around with that as well. But I'm using both my Rodecaster Pro 2s in my studio. Plus, I have a portable one that needs to be repaired right now because I'm using it in the studio. My other one has a busted power input, but I use that for mobile stuff. Like if I go shoot a talking head video, I like the effects in the Rodecaster Pro, so I will run the mics into it and record directly into it. If I'm recording outside, I have a sound device, 6 Pre, that I use for outside recording. It's got the pack, and so I can strap it to myself and use my boom pole. But inside talking head videos, I love to take my second Rodecaster Pro 2. I'm very familiar with it. I could do an interview with up to 4 people. I can record it, multi-track, and I like the built-in effects. I get really good quality audio, good solid WAV files when I do that. So, okay. Let's catch up here. You guys are keeping me from getting on tonight, but that's fine. Chio said he watched Doug Johnson's video, but have to change a few steps because of the type of NAS he's using. Cool. And Chio left what he did on the Blackmagic Design Forum. Okay, so let's jump off of chat. Turn chat off the air. And I ran out to get this. That's why I did not have Skycam on the air for the first 2 minutes of tonight's countdown. Even though I was prepared to have Skycam on, I was out getting this out of the mailbox. So let's see what's in this bag. Never know with me what I would purchase Ta-da! I have the new Light Strip Pro. So if you don't know anything about the Elgato light strips, they don't flicker when they're on camera. You can see one right here over my shoulder going around there. And then that one will change colors and you can program it, all the different colors of the rainbow. But this one will actually move so you can do effects with it. So I bought the kit. So let's go ahead and unbox this just because I can. And I won't be able to do a special video on it, but I will have some footage of me unboxing it here. My cameras are all focused on my setup over here for part 2 today. But there's what's in the box. You got the instructions. And they come with all the devices. Almost looks like you have a little record there, but it's a spool. And then the power supply right here. And I should probably show you guys the box. So let me close this real quick. Just so bits of this video is a proper unboxing. That's the front of the box. The back of the box has some instructions on it. And side of the box, top of the box, upside down, and then logo back here. So that's the box. And then if you open it up, you can see you have the spool and the power supply. So we'll pull this out. And it's got USB-C on that side and power on that side. Actually, it's not USB-C. That's where the light strip plugs in. And we'll pull this out. And it's on a nice spool. We'll look at that here in a second. See what else is in the box. I'm sure we have a power supply in here. The little booklet that it comes with. We'll open this up and look behind it. And when you get behind it, you have the power supply and the different ends in the bag. So we'll open this in a second. So we'll pull this out. Pull the power supply out of here. It's always interesting how people pack things. So here's the power supply. We'll unscrew this, show you how long the cable is. So it's about not quite an arm length apart. And this has the attachment that goes on it. This plugs in like this. And then this side, you'll put the light strip in. Open these up. You have all the different ends that you need. That's the one I need right there for US. Then you also have that. So put those I don't need back in the bag. Snap this on. It's snapped on. And I do have a power strip behind me. So I'm not going to fire this up tonight because I've got to unspool it. But you can see it's all wrapped around here. Here's the back. And you can cut it if you don't want that length. But I haven't decided how I'm going to use it. But I definitely wanted to do a video here on the channel. So I'm actually going to use the footage tonight. And then I will do the hookup here in the studio video of this tomorrow. And I'm going to upload that on my channel. But again, it gives you instructions right inside the book. So you can cut if you need to on the lines. Shows you exactly the steps that I just did, putting it together, plugging it in. And then it has all the different languages back here as well. And there is a reset switch on the side, it says. So we'll look at that. So it's really tiny right here. And you can actually take a pin, something, and you can reset the light. Again, this is going to be wirelessly connected in my studio. And I've been just considering putting lights on my shelves where all my Batman stuff, is. So we'll see if I decide to do that. Also thought about putting it around the TV right there. And I have another kit coming. Elgato owed me $55 and they kept putting in an eBay account. We couldn't get it out. So finally, 2 days ago, I emailed them and said, please just send me another one of these Light Strip Pros, and they agreed to, so that will be coming in the mail. So pretty sure I can use that as an extension, or I'll buy the little adapters that let you extend it. But again, this is the Light Kit Pro. You can see right there on the front. So the difference is that it actually does motion, not just different color lights that don't flicker. Now I can put it in motion and speed it up and slow it down. So I just thought that would be a fun thing to add to the studio. So cool. So watch for that video. I'm going to set up the table and produce that tomorrow if all goes well. I will not be live in the studio next week. If I do go live, I will be on location setting up my sound over in Benton City. The event was going to start on Wednesday, and we are going to have Sunday, Monday, and stuff to set up the tent. But now we actually have some guys coming down from a camp up in Bear Paw Camp up above Spokane, up in the mountains. Those guys are coming down, so we're going to have a gathering together on Tuesday night. So I'll try to, if I have good cell service there, I'll try to go live from my phone and give you guys a little behind the scenes. The event starts at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I'll be out there early to live stream and show you guys the setup. I'll have my PreSonus 32SC set up there, and I'll have my speakers, my new subwoofer up there. And I'm slowly have a new drawer coming this week so I can put all my mics in there. Planning on buying 3 more microphones, which I'll probably talk about when I get back from that event, but that ends on Monday. So I should be tore down or Sunday, I should be tore down and back in the studio that following Tuesday. Though there is a chance I may be heading up to North Spokane on that Tuesday. So that's why I want to try to go live next week from the location, and nothing high tech, just from my phone, using my wireless go-to kit. And just so you guys behind the scenes of that, I'll take my DJI gimbal and take you guys on a little walk, and we'll see how that works next week. So, okay. Say hi to Grish, who is back here. Yeah, we'll see. I should be here. We'll see about that, how that goes. Time will tell. Just depends on, I haven't been out there to test the cell service. I don't have a hotspot. So there's the school that we're on, the property does have wireless, but it's so far out on the field. Their wireless is very, very, very spotty. So we'll see how my T-Mobile phone does and see if I can live stream from it. But so we'll see how next Tuesday goes and the Tuesday after that. But we are live tonight, which is great. That DevOps Kid, good to have you in the chat tonight. We just unboxed the Elgato Light Strip Pro, and I'm going to be doing a video on it tomorrow. We just been saying hi and stuff in the chat. I want to jump into this other angle, so let me do this first. Let's close this and go into my ATEM Mini Pro here. And we're going to share this real quick. So I'm going to log into my ATEM Mini Pro. And let's go back to this angle just a minute. I want to see if my page is open here. No, we're good. So this is the ATEM Mini Pro that I have on my desk, and I have my phone over top of that, and that's live. I've got to make a little bit of adjustment here to get this set up right. And we'll see how that works when I turn the key on, because I do have it set up. But for right now, let me just kind of show you what we're talking about. 9.5 by Blackmagic Design, the control software. And it's basically ATEM Software Control. If you go up here to File, you're going to see that I am now running 9.5. And you have to do a firmware update to get the benefits. And the benefits are numerous. I'm only going to talk about one tonight. You can watch last week's live stream if you like to see more of the benefits, even things that no one knew about, like the HyperDeck, the different pages that are available in HyperDecks now. You used to only have a page for 4 HyperDecks. I don't know if they've updated its ability to communicate with the firmware update, so the ATEMs can communicate with more HyperDecks. No one knows yet, and I will be reaching out to Blackmagic Design to ask that question. But just to quickly show you what I'm talking about, if you go over to HyperDecks now, you have a number of pages down below. So I have 2 HyperDecks hooked up to my ATEM Mini Pro. I do not have my shuttle hooked up here, but you can see the new icons, and now there's a number of pages. So you usually only have 4 one page, and now we have 3 pages. So I don't know if that means that we're going to be able to have more HyperDecks hooked up. Like if you had an Extreme or a model that you wanted to do ISO recording, we'll see if you can actually communicate and start and stop record on 8 HyperDecks. We'll have to find out. There was nothing in their documentation that I saw that talked about the changes to the HyperDeck page, but you do have icons now that populate. You can see 2 of the icons on my ATEM Mini Pro. And then if I hop over to my ISO, which we're streaming from tonight, we go down to the HyperDecks here. You can see that I have new icons. So I have an icon for my shuttle, which we're going to look at tonight. And I have my HyperDeck HD Plus. And then this is my older HyperDeck Mini. Just like Jay said he has. These have been around since, I think, 2017 or maybe earlier. But there's now updated models. And they both will do fill and key. And the shuttle will only play videos and do teleprompting. And so we will take a look at that as well. So back over to the ATEM Mini Pro. And I want to fix my overhead camera here, so I'm going to turn chat off the air. We'll catch back up in the chat in a little while. And this is going to, where is this coming in? So let me show you the setup I have here right now. This would be input number 6. So here is my setup right now. You can see my head. I have my Elgato prompter. I have my desktop software. I have a multi-view monitor set up. This is coming from the HDMI out of the ATEM. And let's change this lip delay here real quick. Stand by. Check. Let's try 8 frames of delay. We're going to cut to that camera here in a minute. Let's see if this is better. That's not the angle I wanted. What is going on here? Channel 4. Let's see if that lip sync is better. So let me know in the chat, guys, if this 8 frames of delay now helps this camera be more in sync. I can't do any more than 8 frames. I am going from my ATEM Mini Pro to my streaming bridge, and it comes in to my ATEM Extreme ISO, and you guys are looking at input number 4 on my Extreme ISO, but the camera and all of that is coming in over my network through my streaming bridge into my Extreme ISO, so I can demo all of this stuff right here. So back to 6. So I have a confidence monitor down here, which shows me the program out. But also, we talked about last week, this would be your confidence monitor in my diagram. And if you guys didn't see that diagram, here's the live still image. And so this is kind of the way I'm set up, except for my prompter is the confidence monitor. So instead of having just the Lilliput or the free will monitor on top of the camera, I have my Elgato prompter in front of the camera, and that's the kind of the setup I have right now. Good to have you, Joe. I have chat off right now. I'll just say hi real quick to Joe. He's in the chat. Audio still arriving first. Need more delay. Not terrible though. Yeah, so that's all the delay I have. I apologize. I'm not gonna be directly on this camera a huge amount. I really want you guys to see my setup, see the multi-view and all that over my shoulder. So back to this angle. And so I will just be talking in the background. So again, my prompter is my confidence monitor in that demo. My 5D Mark IV is behind it. I have my multi-view set to multi-view, and I can change that on the front of my ATEM. So I can bring my ATEM on the air through my... So I can bring my ATEM on the air. So let me cut back to channel 4. So here's the ATEM on my desk, and it's on the air because I am streaming to my streaming bridge. I'm on channel 2 right now, which is my iPhone shooting down on this. And I have the matrix right here, so I can change what's coming out to my multi-view monitor. You can see right now it's set to multi-view. So you had to choose, do you want camera 1? So if you're on the air, you can choose between camera 1 on your multi-view monitor, 2, 3, 4, actually these are inputs, 1, 2, 3, 4, or multi-view or program. But that was the only way you could get to a monitor for display. Now you do have a USB-C cable out, which is right down here. And you can see I have my multi-view HDMI out. Sorry about that autofocus on my phone. I have my 5D Mark IV coming into input 1. I have my iPhone coming into input 2. I've got my HyperDecks shuttle coming into input 3, nothing in 4. And this is going out to my big multi-view monitor. So we'll cut back over to that. Wish I had control somewhere else. Do I have control right here? I do. So let's cut back. So my laptop's going to be running OBS. So we're going to drag this off to another monitor for right now. We will minimize the stream. And here is that downward camera on my iPad. So if you can see it right here, I have the downward camera. I'm in OBS, and I'm going to show you guys this screen here right now. So you look here, I have my USB-C cable coming out of my ATEM Mini Pro. And Chio said this correctly earlier. If you plug an SD drive into it like this, then you can't come out of it into your laptop or your Macintosh, your PC, and use it as a webcam. But if you're just going to record in OBS or stream from OBS or be on Zoom or Microsoft GoToMeetings, then you could use this setup, and we'll talk about what the limitations were before the 9.5 update and the limits that are off now with it. Now, if you have an extreme or extreme ISO, extreme SDI, you have 2 USB-C outs, so you could record to a disk and you could record to a SD at the same time, but you do have to have the ability to record somewhere if you're going to stream it directly from your ATEM. Now, you would have your program on your YouTube channel, after you've gone live and it's over, you'll have that video on there. But if you want an in-house copy, you're going to have a disc in. You won't be able to use these options that I'm about to do. So what I've done is I've right-clicked on the right window, the program window of OBS. And as I do that, I have these choices right here. I have full screen, Blackmagic Designs, so I can stream directly to the ATEM Mini Pro through my laptop. So I have HDMI coming out of my laptop to my ATEM Mini Pro, so it sees that as a monitor. I also have window projector for program, and then I also have screenshot, and then over here I can go to Blackmagic Design, my BenQ monitor, which is one of my other monitors hooked up to my laptop, or I can go to my Elgato prompter. And right now I'm displaying full screen on my Elgato prompter. So we're going to keep it that way. So now if I bring the software over here, and I did this last week, we'll go to my ATEM connections, my ATEM Mini Pro. And because my laptop is hooked up to my ATEM Mini Pro, I can now go up to the outputs, and the 9.5 update lets me put anything I want to the HDMI out. So the HDMI out is set for multi-view right now, but I can also use the webcam out, and I can change it between multi-view, program, and preview. Right now it's on program, as you can see, but now let's change it to multi-view. So now, if I pull this out of the way, you can see I have multi-view here. And then if I change over to the camera over my shoulder, you can see I now have multi-view on my Elgato prompter, and I have some different views here. Let's see, is this the right? Yeah. So there you have my Elgato prompter. It has multi-view. And then if I just go back in the ATEM control software and change the output from webcam from multi-view back to program, now I have program out. So if I switch back to the other camera angle, you can see I have multi-view on my big monitor coming out of my HDMI out, and now my confidence monitor has program out. I'm streaming inside my ATEM Mini Pro because I'm already streaming to my streaming bridge to even show you this, but I could be streaming to YouTube doing all this as well, and I have the ability to change that up. So if I wanted multi-view in my prompter, I can just simply choose multi-view in my prompter. If I wanted multi-view to go to a bunch of people inside a class that I'm teaching in Microsoft Meetings, I can show them my multi-view now. I could also show them my preview. So I can go to preview. So that's my preview monitor right now that you're seeing. And I can go back to multi-view, and I can go back to program out. So what I think is cool about this is now you have gained control over, now my lips will be off again because I'm using this camera. You have control over both of the outputs. One is a USB-C out, and the other one is a HDMI out. Obviously, the HDMI can go directly to a monitor as long as it can see the signal. And you can put multi-view on a monitor just like I have my Extreme multi-view up here. And I could change this as well on the front of my Extreme. I could go to camera 2 back there. I could go to that overhead shot from my ATEM Mini Pro. So I can change the matrix on the front of my ATEM Extreme ISO, just like I can change that on front of, let's go back to multi-view, just like I can change that on the front of the ATEM Mini Pro. But now again, the HDMI is, the only output you have. So that's got to go to a monitor for multi-view. You can make it camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, or input 1, 2, 3, and 4. Preview and multi-view, or program and multi-view. So when you get to an Extreme, you have 8 inputs, so you can go out of your HDMI 1 and use your matrix, and you can go to multi-view out. You can go to camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you also have clean out, preview out and program out and multi-view out of the Extreme ISO or the Extreme. And so it has 2 HDMI out, so you could use that HDMI 2 to another monitor. But the ATEM Mini Pro is so inexpensive right now. Adding this new 9.5 update really does open up some options that I really want us to kind of dive into a bit tonight. So let's go back to camera 6. So multi-view is multi-view, HDMI out of my ATEM. I'm using OBS to take the USB-C input, and I can use it to display full screen on my prompter. This monitor comes out from my Extreme ISO, so it's not hooked up to my ATEM. So, but you can see I can have a confidence monitor here. I can still be streaming live from my ATEM Mini Pro. And you can see right here on the multi-view, I am streaming. You can see the bit rate, 6.18. That's going directly to my streaming bridge, and my streaming bridge is coming into my ISO tonight. So now I can use this either way. So if I don't want program up here, using OBS, I can put multi-view up here. And then I could also have multi-view up there, or I could make that with my matrix on my ATEM. I could make that my confidence monitor. So I could have multi-view here, or I could have that by using the matrix on the front of the ATEM. I can make that whatever input I want. So let's fire up the shuttle here. I don't know why this keeps timing out on me. Try that again. Go back to multi-view. See if this is playing. Go back to multi-view, sorry. Multi-view there, multi-view there. Yeah, it is playing. So let's jog back. So if I wanted this, go back here. Stop. If I wanted this to be the prompter from my ATEM Mini Pro, I'll just change to channel 3. Let's see, channel 3. So now I have prompter up there, and I still have my ATEM Mini Pro over here. So I can put it up there, or I can put it over here by making it program. So if I cut to channel 3, now I have my prompter, my shuttle, and now watch what I'll do over here. I'll make that my confidence monitor. So I have the ability to put what I want using that new output in OBS. I have the ability to put what I want on the confidence monitor, and I have ability to put what I want on my main big monitor. So if I need a big confidence monitor, I can put it up here, and I can have my HyperDeck here, or I could also have this be my multi-view. And the way I get my multi-view is I just go into the software and I change this to multi-view. And now I have multi-view here to mix my show. And up there, I can put the HyperDeck shuttle if I wanted to, like this. So I have the ability, using the matrix and using the HDMI out matrix on the front, using that little mini matrix built into the USB-C out. I have all of these options now, and that's a big deal, because before you had only the program coming out of your USB-C. So that meant that if you wanted to see multi-view, the only way you could see multi-view would be out of the HDMI out. But now with adding multi-view to the USB-C, it really gives you the ability to go back and forth. So I can cut to that output. So if I want to see my shuttle, I can cut to that output, and then I can put multi-view on my confidence monitor and have the shuttle in a big monitor, unless they need to see me. So again, there's lots of little options, lots of things to think about with the 9.5 update. And that's why I wanted to actually put it in here in my studio, so you guys have a bird's eye view of how you can do this. Again, I'm using my prompter from my laptop, but I can make it a confidence monitor. I could put anything up here as well if I wanted to, and display it out of my laptop. So I could have a regular confidence monitor like this free world, and I would just have another output coming from my laptop, and I would be displaying directly to this instead of displaying directly to that. And again, you're going to use OBS full screen because it has the ability to project full screen whatever you have over here. Right now you see the multi-view, so that's projected full screen on my prompter. And if I go into the control software, again, I'll drag this over just so everybody's seeing this tonight. Go to my output and make this program out for a confidence monitor. So now it's program out, and you can see right now I have switched to my shuttle. So if I switch back to camera 1, then I have camera 1 over there. And if I need to read some stuff while I'm live, then I can have my prompter over there. So there's lots of little options of what you can do and how you can use this and switch channels. It still has limitations. It's still not as powerful as an Extreme, having 2 HDMI outs. And if you don't want to mess with this, you can buy the SDI model of the Mini and have 2 SDI outs and convert those. But I just like the ability to do some things that you could not do before. By having that USB-C port out. So let's fix the chat here again, so I can just see if you guys have any questions or comments. And yes, this is designed to rack your brain like it was designed to rack my brain. I'm going to fix my lip sync here real quick. Go back to 4 frames of delay. That should be better on this camera. And so let me bring chat on the air, and we're going to try to catch up here with what everybody's been saying. You're forgiven, Joe, for being late. Just glad you came. The HyperDecks should be my new ventriloquist character. Okay, that doesn't make much sense to me, but I'm sure it'll come to me later tonight and I'll start laughing. Okay, comments on the audio, lip sync. Cool, yeah, the overhead shot is just been set up tonight so you guys can see this desk layout. I brought in that extra monitor from the other studio, and adding all this new stuff every week when I'm used to my studio drives me crazy because it's confusing. Plus, I have an ATEM Mini right now broadcasting through my network to a streaming bridge, which is quite crazy. Sorry about the delay, obviously. It shouldn't have any delay right now. Joe says, I like to have someone try to switch a show remotely watching Multivie and Zoom. There you go. Tony says, I'm in. So here's what Tony's saying is a rundown. VPN into your network, VPN into my network, run software control, put Zoom screen share on the big screen. Right now, question mark? Try it now, okay. You guys go for it. I'm confused already just the way I have it set up, Joe, adding Zoom to tonight could really throw me off. Yeah, and I could even set this room up so I could broadcast over to the TV, because my Apple TV will go over there from my extreme ISO number 1. So Joe says, does the new update allow you to put multi-view on all 4 SDI outputs on the ATEM Extreme SDI? I've never had one, but my understanding is, I think Aaron Parecki said you can only do multi-view on 2 of the SDI outs of the SDI model, but I've never had one. It's really not inside the manual. I've read the SDI manuals before. It doesn't really help you understand what options are. I'm pretty sure that, like, let's just do this to show you my extreme software. Let's, what switcher am I in here? Let's bring it over here. So in my extreme software, if I go to my 2 outputs, output 1, I can do multi-view. Output 2, I can do multi-view. I would think when you get an SDI model, it would just be 2 more SDI outs doing the same thing. So, and again, because you have the options in here already, look at the webcam option on it. I have all those options. I'm now in the webcam. I'll let you guys see this full screen. I'm in the webcam out, and I have all of these options. So if they could add it to the webcam out, which is the USB-C out, and that's USB-C port 1, I believe, only, not USB-C port 2. I've never tried port 2 to stream from to OBS or to Zoom. So I have all these options for output HDMI 1, all these outputs for HDMI 2, and then I have all of these outputs for my web out. So not just did they add the web out, but you can also access this, both the ATEM Mini Pro and Pro ISO and SDI model from the network. I would think that, Chio, you might be able to record from the ATEM Mini Pro to the network, so you could be using your USB-C out to, because like the HyperDecks can record to the network, and I'm pretty sure the ATEM Mini Pro and the Extremes, once you set up, it can record to the network too. I'm not sure. I might be completely wrong on that, so please do not quote me. I'm not sure exactly what you mean combining them together. I mean, I could come out of my ATEM Mini Pro into an input, HDMI out into one of the inputs in my Extreme ISO. I did that before. I'm doing that right now. Extreme ISO number 2, HDMI 1 and 2 comes into channel 3 and 4 in my other Extreme ISO, and that's how I can bring those 8 inputs on the air, 2 at a time. So I'm using the Extreme ISO number 1. I can also use the multi-view and bring it in to my live stream. So there's just lots of options having 2 extremes linked together. But again, now with the USB-C out of my ATEM Mini Pro, that gives me another monitor. So even when I'm using my ATEM Mini Pro in the garage to stream into this room, it gives me extra options, because I do want a confidence monitor, and I also want, because I want to be able to see what's the program out, and that would come from the out to OBS to a monitor, and I could have a big program monitor, and then I could have multi-view coming out of the HDMI out, then be streaming back into this other studio through my streaming bridge. I would be using a Rodecaster Pro in Studio B. so there wouldn't be a lip sync delay. The reason there's a lip sync delay is I'm in this studio using the Rodecaster Pro 2 through my Extreme. I will be going through my ATEM Mini Pro. If I don't buy a rack mount device for Studio B, I don't know yet. Right now I play around in the garage, which is my Studio B, and I stream back into this room through a streaming bridge. And again, the lip sync's on because I do the delay in the garage and from my ATEM Mini Pro, and then I use my other Rodecaster Pro, which I couldn't do tonight, or I would have done it from the garage because my other Rodecaster Pro 2 died. Again, I have to get it repaired. That's going to be a couple weeks before I get it back from California and back from Rode on the repair place in there. So. Okay. I don't think you can split the USB-C at all from the ATEM Mini. And I think people have tried that. You can use a hub and have multiple SD drives. And then Blackmagic Design makes a hub that you can plug in with SD card drives. And so I know a few people found a USB-C hub that you could plug into the ATEM Mini Pro and then have 2 discs in it. Because if you look at the Multivie, it tells you have disc 1 and disc 2. And I think if you plug a USB-C disc into USB-C out 2 in an Extreme, you'll get 2 discs. But in the ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro ISO, and the ATEM Mini SDI ISO, you would have to use a hub. And you have to check around. I don't know which hubs work. I've never bought one and tried it with my ATEM Mini Pro. So that's that question. The Dev Op Kid says no split. Yeah, you can't split the USB-C out for sure to 2 monitors. Chio doesn't think the ATEM can record. Again, that's the 9.5 update was designed so you could ingest recordings directly into DaVinci Resolve. So I would think if it can ingest into DaVinci Resolve, you should be able to record in DaVinci Resolve at the same time. I don't know. I don't use DaVinci Resolve, so we'll just have to see. You can use the USB-C hub for recording. I just don't know which one, Joe. I did that research a couple years ago when I had my ATEM Mini Pro, but I had no reason to have multiple discs. If you're going to do a wedding or something like that, then you could have them fall over. If I was doing a wedding, I would just take one of my HyperDeck Mini because it has the 2 SD cards, so it would just fall over to the other card. If it was empty, then you could take the first card out, offload all that way before the other one was full, plug it back in, and then as long as it's ready, formatted correctly, it'll fall back over. So the minis, not only will they do the HyperDecks, not only do they do recording, the HyperDeck Minis with the 2 discs and even the bigger models with the bigger SD discs, they have that fall over feature. So they'll fall over to the other card and then fall back. So you could be hot swapping them, which is really cool. So you could record 24 hours and have all of that footage as long as you're offloading that or changing new discs that are completely empty. And yeah, Joe's talking about multi-drive. Good to have you, DJ Ware. You have to go back and watch the video. I unboxed the Elgato Lightstrip Pro that came in the mail just when I started my intro video tonight. I had to run out there, so I didn't have Skycam on for the first 2 minutes because I was at the mailbox. We unboxed that. I'm going to do a video on it tomorrow, hook it up on the table and let everybody see. And then, again, you can program buttons inside the Stream Deck using the Elgato plug-in for that, and you can do circular light movements now with the new Elgato Lightstrip Pro. So that dev ops kid's saying some things here. I hope you guys understand this. It sounds like I tried it and it could recognize the drive to a locally saved feed. He also says, yes, now you can for 9.5, you can have the YouTube update for encoders. Blackmagic Design makes this device. Let me find it here, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. Pretty sure this device right here, they had a device like this that you could plug in and record and they would fail safe over. I'm not sure if this is the one. I was just looking here on their site. Obviously you can record to the monitors. But I did read that there was some USB-C hubs that you could plug two discs in and it could be seen from the ATEMs, but I've never tried it, so I could be completely wrong. But these are the HyperDecks. So the first one does not have key and fill. That's the HyperDeck Studio HD Mini. The Plus is what I have in my studio now that does fill and key and has a new 8.4 update that can communicate with your network once you open it all up. So I could record directly to a NOS on my network. You just have to do all the steps. And again, Doug Johnson had some things over there. Chio said he has some ways he did it. And the new HyperDeck Studio 4K up here, this one right here has a 10G. It's brand new, and it has a 10G network port. So that's going to enable this one to really fly. It'll do 2160 at 60 frames per second, but it's a $3,000 device. If I did trick out my studio and get a HyperDeck to record 4K, that would be the one I would get. But again, $3,000 is just not really something in my budget. There's also this 4K here. It does not do, it does 2160 frames per second. But if I remember right, this one does not, and it'll actually do H.265 as well as ProRes, DNC recording, but it does not have a 10G Ethernet port. So I don't see any other capture and playback. Somewhere on their site, they had a docking station that would let you record directly to it. Converters, broadcast converters, monitoring, ATEMs, streaming encoding. It would be under this section. So SD duplicator right here for a bunch of SD cards. So pretty sure this is the device that I'm talking about. But I've never owned one, so you guys can check this out. It's under the HyperDeck page on the Blackmagic Design site. So not sure I really answered any questions with that. Okay, let's see. Lots of chat here tonight. Let me see if I can catch up. And yes, you can record directly to DaVinci Resolve, that DevOps Kid says. DJ Ware, you can do it, the recording indirectly to the network if you record to a HyperDecks, which is set up to write to network drives, okay? So Chio says the ingest to DaVinci Resolve is pulling it from the drive. That makes sense because now you can see those drives over the network. So it's the ATEM then Chio saying is recording through the USB-C out to the SD card, and then the network can pull that information off of that. So you still have to have the SD card. You can't pull the SD card on ATEM Mini Pro and use the USB-C out. Now, obviously, Chio, you could record to OBS using that USB-C out, but and you could also display at the same time, I would think. But you wouldn't want to switch inputs from the USB-C out from your ATEM because that would influence your recording in OBS. So again, what I'm talking about is just the options that you have to be able to do different multi-view monitors, confidence monitors, now that you have control over 3 different outputs from the USB-C out. But again, you would not be able to record at the same time. It'd just be for live streaming, for meetings, and then whatever you show in Zoom or whatever you show in OBS could be recorded in OBS on your PC or in Zoom. Zoom has recording. Microsoft Meetings, I believe, has recording. Again, we're just trying to control the broadcast in our studio and also have the things that we need to see as we're streaming into Zoom or in a meeting in Zoom or in a meeting in Microsoft Meetings. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, this feature in 9.5 for the ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro ISO, what that allows you to do. Obviously, if you're doing a recording, you need ISO recording. You're going to have to plug a USB-C SD drive into your ATEM Mini Pro ISO and then record all of the inputs and then edit it later. And you could be still streaming while you're live, but you would not be able to have anything more than a multi-view. Because what would be going over the internet would from your network cable would be your program out, and you'd still have that that USB-C drive plugged up with your SD recording. So you wouldn't be able to do both at the same time. Tony says the same thing about accessing the footage into DaVinci Resolve. Again, you guys can read these. Yeah, the new networking ability in 9.5 gives you the ability now to communicate directly to your SD drives. And then, like I said, 8.4 update, the HyperDeck lets your HyperDeck now record directly to your network. Yeah, I've actually thought about doing 2 streams a week, believe it or not. But I would be covering other topics. I wouldn't just be focusing on the ATEM. I would be focusing in on live sound and some other things in that other stream, so people could kind of pick and choose rather than switching it up on my Tuesday streams. But again, I spend all day Tuesdays on this live stream every week. So every week I'm giving a whole Tuesday. I do it for studying. Sometimes I'm setting things up in the studio. Like today, I spent 2.5 hours rewiring the studio to be able to do that overhead shot into the corner. So it's pretty crazy, all the things that you put yourself through in your studio. So, yeah, let's change that back to multi-view up there. Okay, so, or post show again. No, I would do a separate live stream for sure. Joe. Okay, let's talk about this here. So the reason you can directly record to either Cloud or DaVinci, that's for easy access, editing team can, yeah. So yeah, the biggest reason for all these kind of updates in the HyperDecks as well as the ATEMs is they're trying to give us the ability to ingest stuff directly as we're recording or we're live streaming, right, from the SD drives. And then that could then go up to the cloud, and people could be in other buildings receiving that information through your network or in the building you're at. So as you're live doing your podcast, whatever it is, they could be editing for you already. You could even be doing instant replay with some of the new devices. So all of this 10G and all this networking capability is to do all that. Now, the interesting thing is, you know, why did it take them so long to do 9.5 and update the webcam output of the ATEMs? So how does that fit into everything else? That's what's quite fascinating. What were they thinking? I really do think they're trying to appeal to the ATEM Mini Pro, to the people that are doing meetings and they need to show multi-view, or they're doing training on the devices. But again, most people are going to just want to have whatever camera they want on the air at that moment when they're in a Zoom, and they're not going to be showing their multi-view. They're not going to show their preview. So it's quite interesting, this update that Blackmagic came up with. And I've been just trying to rack my brain of all the different ways you can use it. And because I would like to take my ATEM Mini Pro and have it at the event and stream from it to my phone, because you can actually use the USB-C out to a phone and then stream through the mobile phone using it as a network device. And so I thought that would be really fun. But again, if I have my phone hooked up to the USB-C out, that doesn't enable me to use that feature to be able to use multi-view out on a laptop monitor, or use my laptop as the OBS hub to display on another, project to another monitor. So playback is like 5K. Pretty slow. Okay. Any other questions? Have I considered renting some gear, Joe? Yeah, I have. There's not a lot. I live in the Tri-Cities. It's not that great. It's like 400,000 people. It's not like some of the bigger cities where there's a lot of rental stuff. I know they'll mail it to you, and postage back and forth is included, but I've only rented 1 or 2 items ever. And so I'm not sure I would rent it to do videos on it. Again, my channel, a lot of people are being approached by manufacturers. You get the product. Ozbot approached me. They said I could have the new Tiny 2 camera if I signed a contract to do a review and all that stuff. And I just don't want to take my channel that direction. I'd love to have it. I have 2 Insta360 links right now. Insta360 came out with a little tiny camera that Peter McKinnon and a lot of people are doing videos on. I just don't want to be a part of that pool school of fish that are all swimming the same direction and releasing their videos on the same day. Canon, you know, what new Canon lens and all that stuff. I'm just not really interested in that. Them driving me down the stream that they want me to go on because they're sending me these products. I really want to focus in on live streaming tech, live sound. And as I get new equipment, I'll talk about it here on the channel. Occasionally I buy something specifically and add it to my kit because I think it'll be a good video and it's something I really want. But I'm not sure I want to go down that direction. I have over 2,700 subscribers right now. I want to stay focused on the main thing. And so if Blackmagic Design did something that was so enticing for me to add to my studio that I thought everybody was going to buy, like the 2,700 subscribers that I have, they could afford it. And because eventually you could price yourself and what you're talking about on your live stream out of the market. And I also do consulting. I give a free 1-hour consult to people that get stuck. And then if they want to sign up to some of my programs, I have monthly programs that they can sign up for. And when they do that free consult, I share that and share the pricing with them. And I had as many as 7 or 8 clients. I think 9 total overlapping each other 3 months ago, kind of winding down for the summer. I'm going to have 2 or 3 clients going through the summer, and then I'll ramp it back up in the fall. And again, I want this channel to continue to train people and teach people and help them figure out how to use this stuff. So, and lighting's involved because you want to have a studio at home. So lighting's important. Audio is important. The SM7B, a lot of people are using it. That's why I have it in my studio. I also have the wireless Go on right now that I can switch over to. So now I'm on the wireless Go mic, not on this mic. So there's lots of different things that I want to share about on my channel that I actually use. I use this in every single console, so I don't have to have the microphone in front of me. I can turn any direction, and I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So that's super important to me. Like even right now, if I cut to camera 4, and then on the ATEM, change to channel 2, I have my iPhone, and so people knowing how to use their iPhone on their desk, knowing how to use the ATEM Mini Pro, what the limitations are, what they can do now because it has the new 9.5 firmware update. And again, a lot of people don't even know how to use the keys on these devices. So they get stuck trying to figure out how to use an upstream key and a downstream key. When you start about ISO recording, and again, a lot of you guys are on my channel and you know how to do all that stuff because you've been doing it for a long time. But a lot of the people that come across this channel or dive in or listen to it later or watch these videos later, they're getting stuck doing some of the stuff that we're doing all the time. And I really want to be able to at least donate an hour of my time to help them. I get a chance to meet them. I met a guy from Seattle this week. I actually, let me know if you're in the chat. Talked about being on the chat tonight. But yeah, he is not hockey. He is going to be doing MMA. He's the content creator, and he's going to be doing a live stream of mixed martial arts. And they're going to ramp up pretty quickly to multiple cameras. Talked about lots of camera angles, but he's starting out, and they're renting all their equipment in the Seattle area. And again, they're right there. And I talked about what equipment he could go ahead and purchase. And we even talked about the Ultra Box, the YOLO Box Ultra. It has a lot of features that would be great for a mobile start-out stream on location. Has a SIM slot. Not sure that that's going to be good enough to do any really high resolution streams, depending on where you're at and how good that SIM card speed is. But you could get bonding devices and use the YOLO Box Ultra. And it has graphics and all of that stuff. You can record a couple of the channels in ISO tracks. And there's just a lot of things. You can bring in webcams into that, as well as I believe it has networking ability. I think either NDI or SRT. I can't remember, but Joe Rents from Lens Rentals. Joe has taken his flying exam to get his license to do commercial drone footage. So I wish you luck. Thank you, David. I guess that's my honesty just about the channel. So Tony says you're going to nail it. So there you go. Yeah, and Joe says, yeah, don't copy everybody else. Yeah, you have to understand, this last 6 or 7 months, lots of people came out just tired of playing the game. Like, how do you get off the treadmill? Jared Undone got negative, I think it was Jared Undone, got negative feedback when he talked about not going to an event. And I just really don't want to do that. I get very little negative stuff on my channels. You guys saw sometimes I get pushed back live because I don't get started early enough. We've been on now for an hour and a half. But again, I'm not here to entertain or make things quick for anybody. I did put chapter markers in last week's video because I thought there's some really important touch points on 9.5, including like the HyperDeck changes that people would want to hear about. So if they're out there searching and Googling it, Hopefully they'll find my video. They can go right to the chapter they want to, so I don't have to watch the whole live stream, because really my motivation is to try to help people out. I didn't have much help when I started live streaming. I learned most of this myself, but watched some videos, had some assistance from even some of you guys, and that really helped me. Even last week, Tony bailed me out before I even went live, because I got stuck trying to get logged in to my network SSD drive because it asked me for a admin and password. And so I even talked about that in last week's live stream. So yeah, I would love to get my hands on the higher end HyperDecks. I think Adam Tal got his hands on some stuff from Blackmagic Design when he was writing mix effects. He didn't have to pay for those. So obviously Adam got inside that loop. I know he is one of the few guys I know that's got a lot of these devices. And I think it's because they're getting more purchases because of mix effects. If you don't know what mix effects is, Adam Tal wrote this app so I can run my macros. I have HyperDeck control right here. There's my HyperDecks. I have switcher control. I can turn my keys on and off the air. And I can go into super source because I have my extremes, and I could do preset layouts, and it even does animations with super source. I was in super source before, so I'll bring it back on the air. And so I can actually use some of these animations to change the look. So let me go to a 4-box. So I like the animations that Adam Tal created with this app. I don't use it that much, but here I am on a background, so I'm not even full screen. And here I am full screen. So I like these, I like it. And then you can even change what's in each of the boxes right down here. So I could choose a box. You guys really need to see this full screen. Nope, that would be this camera right here. Let's just go to camera 3 here. So again, I have the ability to change what's in box 1, 2, 3, and 4. All I have to do is tap on the box I want to change, and then here is the matrix of all of the inputs that I could go to that box. So I love mix effects and how it speeds up the process. And Adam Tal had access to them. He had access to Blackmagic Design devices so that he could write the code for that iOS app that works only on the iPads and iPhones. And so having a phone that you can grab really quickly and change things up just gives you more advantages. And I think they've sold more ATEM Mini Pros and a lot more devices. Especially think about all the rack devices that don't have a switcher and buttons anymore. You don't want to try to change cameras on those rack devices. So a lot of people like Aaron Parecki and those guys are using mix effects. And now Blackmagic Design came out with a new Bluetooth switcher. So you can use that on your desk. But really all you need is a good working setup like mix effects. And again, if I go up to switcher view, scroll all the way down, here is the other ATEMs I have on my network. So I could just simply switch. It takes a couple seconds, but I could switch to my Extreme 2 or my ATEM Mini Pro. And again, I have remote access. I just have to create a network. And when I go next Tuesday, I'm creating a wireless network. So I'll have access to use this app. If I take my ATEM Mini Pro there, and I'm thinking about streaming from my ATEM Mini Pro using my iPhone as my camera rather than taking one of my expensive cameras and getting it knocked over there. Again, I'm not getting paid. It's just a volunteer event, but I like to practice there. So I'll be able to run my USB control from my Presonus board. I'll be able to play music from my iPad if I want to, from YouTube or from my playlist on my iPad. I could also control my ATEM Mini Pro. If I took Elgato lights, I could use that app on my iPad. There's just lots of things that you can do when you have an iPad or an iPhone and you have apps like this. So I absolutely love what Adam Tal has been able to accomplish in this. See if I can go back down here and find my macros. Okay, I don't know if I'll ever get through all this chat. I don't think I remember chat on the air, there being this much chat in my history of being live. So, okay. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, Tony. If you do it unbiased, please don't think I'm critiquing your channel. This is just me. I know many of you have done those kind of reviews, and there's absolutely nothing wrong. Like if you, like Tony does things on the Gnosis and things like that, that's perfect. I go to those channels to watch them. I need to learn. I think the more videos on YouTube, unboxing devices and giving unbiased reviews is super important. Most of us are on YouTube to do that. Again, I'm just trying to focus on the equipment that I'm using, and occasionally I'll buy something new that I don't even use that often because I want to talk about it. I mean, I even talked about these headphones. So, I love these new, these are the ATEM M50Xs. And I love these headphones. This is my primary headphones at my desk. The old M50s, I had 4 pair. They're literally falling apart. I also have another pair of AKGs, I think they are. Sennheisers, I can't remember. But they're floating around. One of those is in my kit when I go with my live sound. These ones stay in the studio, and like I said, they look pretty cool. So, I mean, I even did the Logic Key Pop mouse and the keyboard. Though a lot of people didn't care about that on my channel, but this matches my logos and my colors. So I love having the black and white look in my studio. That's why I added it. And this is the keyboard that I can use to 3 different things. So I can switch to 3 different devices. So one of these is my iPad, one of this is my laptop, and the first one is my PC. So I can use this for all 3 devices. So I take this over on my desk. I can control from the mouse. It has a switch on the back, a little button on the back to change devices. So these 2 let me run my iPad if I want a keyboard for it, my mouse for my iPad. I also can use this keyboard for my laptop, my PC, which is great. So things like this, I use all the time, every day in my studio. And then I also love these Logic ball mouses. I don't want to roll a mouse around, even though I do it with this one, which is an exception. But I have 2 of these in my studio. Again, I can have one on my desk and one on the table. So if I move back and forth, I have one to run my PC, one laptop on my desk, and one on the table. So lots of stuff that I've not even talked about on my channel, haven't had enough time. I mean, I even love my Samsung TV back there that gives you this kind of picture frame look. And now they're even thinner and less bevel. Really cool. I have my Miles Morales 1/6 scale figure. I've got my 2022 Batman on the shelf and the bat signal. And again, Dominic and I are going to do that channel. So having another night a week, Joe, just back to what you said, might be something. And then who knows? Maybe I'll start saying yes occasionally if it's the perfect tool. I really debated about if I was going to do that Ozbot review or not, but I chose not to do it because I've been using 2 Insta360 cameras. The cool thing about that Ozbot Tiny 2 is it has a micro HDMI out. But again, the whole idea of those is you're going to control them over the network. They're more like PTZ cameras. And so the Insta360s give me the ability to use the software on my laptop so I can change those different camera angles when I'm live. So like right now, I got the Insta360 right here, and I can bring it on the air. So now you have it on the air. I can change camera angles. So this is camera 1. So there's the multi-view for the ATEM Mini Pro. Here's a close-up of my Elgato prompter. Here's a wider shot of my desk. Here's a close-up of 2 things on my shelf. And then I can change to the other one. And I can also go in the software, change cameras. And now I can use my quick buttons to change this camera around. I got that angle, got that shot of Indiana Jones and my Batmobile. That's my shelf. There's a closer up of my shelf. There's my Vault-Tec guy, and there is my desk. And I can move this around. I could just drag it around and show different things in my studio. So there you go. Even come down here at my prompter and my hand, and then I can zoom in and out if I wanted to. So again, I love having these cameras as an option here in my studio to be able to show different things in my studio, my desk, especially when I'm consulting. And I could have them as overhead cameras facing down. Right now I have one on top of this monitor. Let's go back to this other view here. Let me change cameras. Go back to the other camera, input 1. And back to camera 6. So got the multi-view right here, and I have a camera. I have an Insta360 on the top. You can just see the bottom of it right there. And so because I put this monitor in from my garage studio, I now have a Insta360 on top of it. I really would like to do a swing out bracket and add a monitor right here. So right now I'm debating, do I want to add one more monitor in this studio? I even kind of want a monitor above my laptop. Let me cut back to that again. I would like a monitor right here. So when I'm in a Zoom call, I can have a confidence monitor right here of what's I'm showing my client. So if I'm demoing something on here, I can just glance up to make sure he's seeing my screen rather than having to look over here. So this monitor is great for a confidence monitor. So is it putting it on the prompter. But having one more monitor here and one monitor there. So if the monitor's right there, if I cut to this camera, fire it back up. If I cut to this camera, then you got a monitor over my shoulder right here. So I'd want it to swing back over here. You can see my Batman on the shelf. This is another view. I did some videos 3 or 4 years ago from this view on a whole other Facebook page. Had nothing to do with live streaming tech, just a personal channel. And that's where I started practicing. And then I went live with this channel in my bedroom, and then later went live. And I can change my lights to these different views. So this is the lighting setup. Oops, that's off. Turn that back on. This is the lighting setup for this camera. So I can change my Elgato key lights, again, using a Stream Deck Plus. So I love all of this tech. You got mix effects right here over my shoulder, my laptop. I got all that shelf stuff back here, shelves all the way across, and even my Batman there. So lots of these things in here are designed specifically for my consulting, so I can show different parts of my desk. And again, I love the new view. I call it the Tony QuickTech camera view, which is actually the main view here. Let me cut back to that camera and cut back to this lighting. And let's go to input 4. Now this will have delay today, but it normally doesn't have delay. I call this the Tony /Joe QuickTech Solutions camera. So again, I love this setup. You can see over my shoulder. So most of my Zoom conversations are happening like this using this microphone. And I can pull the SM7B over there. My camera's in the way. Let me move my phone. But it barely reaches. So I have to kind of sit like this with it aiming. But this looks fine. So all these different setups is designed so that I could use my prompter if I wanted to. I'm looking right into it when I want to see my audience. So I'm not having to glance up or glance down. So I do love this device. And I love that I can put my multi-view up there now too if I wanted to. So there's lots of options that I have the ability to do. So yeah, I can put my Extreme ISO multi-view up there because normally my laptop is plugged in USB-C to my ATEM Extreme ISO. Tonight I unplugged it and plug my ATEM into my laptop. But normally, instead of putting the Multivie for an ATEM Mini Pro up there, I normally can put up, now the 9.5 update lets me put my Multivie up there for my Extreme. Now, in a 9-inch monitor, they're little tiny windows, but remember, I can change the layout of the Multivie as well in the software. Now I can change the fonts on and off the air. I can change the borders. I can change all kinds of things now with the 9.5 update. So cut back to an angle that has no lip delay. So, okay, change the lighting back to that. Okay, change back to my other mic. Now I'm on the SM7B, and let's wrap this up. I'm not sure I'm going to get through all this chat. Let me just see if there's any life-altering things going on here in the chat. Okay, chat on the air. Yeah, again, Tony, I totally agree. I'm not dissing you at all. Please don't take it wrong. I'm just saying I am trying to stay on a course and not allowing manufacturers to take me down these other paths. But if I had 27,000 subscribers or 16,000 subscribers, I might start doing my channel different. I'm not there yet. So I'm definitely not going to try to tell anybody else how to do their channel. And if you can get free products by doing an unbiased review, why wouldn't you? Right? That's a lot more money than I'm making in my channel right now. So who knows? I might take something free from Rode or people I talk about all the time if they ever offer. So I would love to hang out with you in Massachusetts. Thanks for showing up tonight and hanging out with us. You've had some great input, so thank you. I would like to know the real name, though. That DevOps kid is a lot harder to say than probably your name. I think the audience that watches these type channels are very punctual and literal, and any feedback should be looked at as a friendly lens if it sounds super direct. Yeah, again, Grish, I have no problem with feedback. I've managed teams. I have run facilities. I ran a nonprofit. I consult now. I think as long as we're respectful and honoring to each other, honesty is the only way to go. Hopefully, when you have someone that doesn't have any filter, the stuff that sometimes they say things that they would no one else would say. So again, how you react to that is really up to you. I try not to react negative to those things. So Joe's channel, Streaming CT, if you guys want to check it out. Joe used Mix Effects to do a graduation last week. I bet that went a lot easier with Mix Effects. I would love to write some software. I'm not a software writer, but I've thought of some apps, but I don't want to have to update them all the time. I have a couple really good app ideas. I've run it by a couple people that do apps. They weren't interested. So if you know anybody that wants a couple really good app ideas, let me know. Have them reach out to me. You can contact me on my contact page. I will put that link later tonight. Actually, let me just grab it right now before we go off the air. And I will put that in the notes. So if you do want a free consult, just reach out to me on my contact page. Let me know that you want a free consult. Obviously, I'm not just doing that to hang out with people. I really want to try to help people get over hurdles. So it needs to be something that I can actually help with. So let me know in the comments of that form that you want a free consult if you haven't already used it. So let me go in here real quick and do this. Let's see here. I'll put it in the chat over here. And I'll put it in the comments later. So it's in the chat now. Okay, let's wrap this up. Try to finish these comments. Joe says his switcher is still back ordered. That's the new Bluetooth switcher by Blackmagic Design. If you have not seen that, that was introduced at NAB. Let's go back to the products. Let's go to switchers. Let's scroll down here and see if it's on this page. I think it is. No. Let's go back to their product page, their home page. You guys can see what I'm doing here. That's the new replay editor by DaVinci Resolve right there. Did I just pass it? Here's the new micro panel. And I think that's what Joe is saying he has coming. So if you do want to have a rack mounted device and have a switcher on your desk, this does have the live row and the program or preview row, which I really like. I'd much rather have that than what I have now with my ATEM Extremes on my desk. Though I don't see a matrix on this. You do have the matrix on the Extreme, which I really like. So I'm not sure how that will play out on a device like this. Joe, you'll have to let us know down the road. Okay. Chat back on the air. No, I did not see that Blackmagic Design partnered with Apple, as you say, Macintosh. Yeah, I get it. Nice tactile buttons are really cool. Cool. I'm glad you didn't take it as critiquing your channel, Tony. Joe bought a DJI Mavic Pro 3 for his business. I have heard about DJI getting banned. I don't know if that's actually completely happened yet. I do have a DJI Mini Pro 3. So I don't know how that's going to play out for those people that are getting their Part 107 license, which is what this is talking about right here. So I put mine on the back burner because I've been busy doing some other stuff. And I don't really do a lot of the work where I need to do drone footage for clients, though it would be nice. I've been really branching out my consulting side of my business, not the live video production side. But again, it just depends. I'm semi-retired. So Shannon and I are just trying to get all our debt retired so that we can do whatever we want. I want to continue running my channel. This is my priority. My secondary priority is the consulting, which this builds. And then after that, the mobile content creation and all that stuff. I mean, if the right client comes along and wants me to consult again in the RV business, I would. I have 23 years of experience in the whole RV business. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. I am just going to try to see. DJ Ware says he's played with all the drones he ever wanted to. Is my lens dirty on the overhead? I don't know. Could be. I'll have to look at it. Joe wants me to name the overhead camera after him. Okay, maybe. That's cool. It's going to be your first and last name, so you better be sure, because I've already thought that if I ever name anything out after you, it's going to be first and last name, because I like the way that rolls off my lips. Update on Studio B. It's still stalled, Tony. Shannon and I talk about it every so often. I did the math. I know what it would cost me. A lot depends on how these businesses take off. So I've kind of postponed it. Studio B is still a location. It's in my garage. I use pretty much like it's a 3-car garage when you have 2 cars in there. So sometimes I take both cars out and practice with my sound equipment. There's no air conditioner in there, but I have 2 air conditioner units. So I can just put the exhaust underneath the door, close the garage door all the way down. But again, it's not very soundproof. So I don't do a lot of live streaming out there, but I do a lot of work out there. And right now, that's where I'm practicing live sound, though it's really hot in here today, and it's even hot in the garage today because it's summer now here, basically in the desert where I live in Washington. I don't live in the mountains. I live in the desert, so. What have I mixed audio-wise lately? I did a couple small gigs, traveled with a friend of mine who plays guitar and does some speaking. So I did a couple small gigs with my Studio Live 32 SC console. This event coming up next week will be a full-blown tent event. So live drums, all that stuff. And I use another guy's sound equipment with my Studio Live board. My speakers become the main speakers. His become the fill speakers. He has 2 subs, 2 15-inch Mackie subs, and 2 plastic cased Mackie speakers. I don't like the sound of those, so we use those for fill. And then I put my 2 15-inch Yamahas, even though I like the DXS's better, like my sub, and my sub I'll be using the very first time. I have a snake that a friend of mine donated to me, a 32-channel snake. I'm going to be using that. I have my digital snake I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be really busy next week. So starting Monday, Tuesday when I set up sound. So that'll be the biggest thing that I'm going to be mixing live, and I'll be doing some live multi-channel recording at that event. I might just use the stereo track, but I want to use all the features of my Studio Live 32 SC console. So. Yeah, I mean, I might use someone from the channel to monitor the questions, but again, I've never had this much chatter on my channel before. Like, I'm still so far behind. Studio B update on Ratso. Well, Ratso, I'm a ventriloquist. I got my puppets out because of this channel. So Ratso is a puppet I had designed kind of with the same thought that Jeff Dunham had Peanut designed by the same lady. And she's passed away now, but she did design Ratso from me from pictures that I drew. And so Ratso is what I would be my key character if I did any ventriloquism. But again, I'm semi-retired. I'm not interested in doing a lot of ventriloquist events. I might, if I ever got asked to speak at an event because of my experience with this equipment and live streaming, I might break Ratso out just to break the ice. You never know, but that's an update on Ratso. If you haven't seen my post shows from a while back, a year ago, you can check them out here on the channel. And I even brought Ratso out in our last town hall meeting. So if you came to the town hall meeting, which is not recorded, doesn't go on my YouTube channel, it's just you guys gathering together so you can see each other's faces on a Zoom call. I had Ratso at that. That's the update on Ratso. So. Well, cheer, because I'm jumping forward to that part of the chat. And I'll never get the rest of this done. So let me just scroll through these to see if I missed anything major. I will continue to keep up the good work. Did I miss anybody else that popped in tonight? I think I said hi to DJ Ware. What did I do before the RV business? That's a loaded question. So I would be happy to answer that personally. So email me. I agree. Cellular bonding is a big thing. I keep waiting for it to drop in price. Tony has got, and Joe both have done videos. Tony has a new device he did a video on over at QuickTech Solutions. Joe has access to a bonding manufacturer that you can purchase through him. And he put his name of his site, his YouTube channel, up in the comments up earlier. So check that out. The Mackie speakers, just the plastic cases. I mean, it's just like drums. If you made drums, a drum set out of plastic and not wood, it has a different sound. The wood plywood cabinets are part of the sound of higher end speakers. So in my opinion, the plastic is very bright and it feels brittle to me. And it's the same thing with cheaper microphones, cheaper condenser microphones. You just don't have the same warmth that I feel like you get. And then obviously as you go up the chain of Yamaha speakers, you get into their higher end speakers. And I spoke at a venue here locally that had the nicer 15-inch Yamaha speakers, and I love the sound of them. I was able to play the same music through them from my Studio Live board. I plugged in the channel 2 of those, right and left, and then to the subwoofer out of auxiliary 6, and I listened to the same track on those speakers and the same track on mine, obviously different room, and I A-B'd them in the music store, but they were $1,200 per speaker, and I only really could afford around $850, $900. So I bought the less expensive 15s. They are in wood cabinets, and wood just sounds better in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. And they're always less expensive if they're plastic cabinets. And they're pretty indestructible too. So keep that in mind. Yeah, we'll bring Ratso here this summer on the channel. And Tony says he agrees wood versus plastic. Sorry you missed the town hall, Tony. You guys flooded me tonight. But that's good. I mean, the whole reason that we go live, guys, is so that we can have these kind of conversations about this type stuff. Cool. It's good to have you and good to know what you're doing. And it is Peter. So it's good to have you, Peter. Thank you for letting us know what your name is. So. Tony took and passed his update for his Part 107 today. Congratulations. Okay, Keith, you can also do a video call now and add it to your ATEM. Are you talking about bringing in someone through Zoom into my ATEM? I did that with Adam Tao here on my channel. Not quite sure what you were talking about there. Glenn B., I didn't see you earlier. Hello, thank you for being here if you're still here tonight. Anyone use a laser rope light? Saw one for film, kind of pricey, maybe a cheap Chinese version. Laser is not a blinking light source. Obviously, I have friends that do DJ work that use laser lights in their light shows because they're doing like dances after weddings. That's not my gig. Kind of the niche that I've been considering outside of this building is live audio mixing and obviously live sound, but also adding live streaming to that. So if someone was to hire me for an event or pay me for an event, they're getting me to do live sound because I want to have the audience sound and the mix to my live stream. I want to have control over that, and I've shared that on my channel before. So that's kind of the niche that I'm going after. So okay, I am just going to throw in the towel. So much is happening in the chat, and that's really cool. I'm glad that's happening. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be doing that video tomorrow on that new light. It's right here in my hand. We unboxed it. This is the new Light Strip Pro, so watch for that video. Comes in a complete different setup. It's all wound up right here, and this will actually not only do multicolors, non-flicker, be able to use with the Elgato Stream Deck app, and with the Stream Deck, you'll be able to have it loop lights. So this one right here will change colors. It's around that corner shelf. That's the only Elgato light I have in the studio. The LED lights I have on the bottom of the window are a different brand. I think they're the Wix lights, and I have a Wix light bulb in there, and I have Wix lights above my head. But this is Elgato, and I have 2 key lights and a key light mini above my head, right above my hair light. And then I have a key light air over there. So 4 Elgato lights in this studio, 5 counting the strip light in the back. And now I'm adding 2 strip light pros. And I think these are going to go around my shelves. I haven't decided yet. Again, I'm running out of power in my studio. So the challenge is I'm not even sure if I can keep adding more power and more power in my studio. So we'll see. And we'll see how long you can go. I may take the other one and combine it with this one, so I only have to use 1 power strip, but I don't know if I can combine 2 if there's enough power in this supply. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I will try to pop on next week from location to give you guys a tour if I can do that. It's just going to say, I think the still image is going to say live event tour. And that Tuesday will be before the first sound check, so I'll only be able to be online for about 35, 40 minutes. The sound check is at 5. I'll have to make sure everything's ready to go before then. So if I do come on, it'll be 4 o'clock, maybe to 4:45, because I have to be off to be able to be ready for the sound check. So I would be doing that from my phone. If you don't see me next week or no still image, I apologize, but I will definitely be back on the air in 2 weeks. Hopefully I will be on next week, but not the week after that because I got to go out of town on Tuesday. So Tony said he's looking forward to the Light Strip Pro video. Cool. Good night to you as well. Live sound, motion lights, party. Yeah, I would like to get some lights for my kit as well. I don't think the internet guy can get me more power, so I would have to bring that in from my panel, which is on the other side of the house, so it's very expensive. This room is pretty well tapped out, and so, in fact, the bathroom next door that's on one of the circuits, the lights dim when I go live, because I turn more things on when I'm live than I do when I'm consulting, just so you guys know. So, and I do plan on doing a studio tour, another studio tour this summer. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. When I do that studio tour, I plan on having things fired up in Studio B. So it's going to be a complete tour of both this studio and Studio B, and Ratso will definitely appear in that studio tour video. Thank you, Doug. Good night to you too, Chio. Time to say good night. Thank you, DJ Ware. Phone FaceTime. Yeah. And I've done that before as well. I streamed from my phone when I was a content manager for Blue Dog RV. So almost all of my live streams were from my phone. We even did a DJI drone live stream. So we were able to go live from the app and then flew the drone up on that live, landed it, and the drone was our camera. We had a landing spot on top of a tent trailer, which was at the perfect height. So we started our live stream from the DJI drone. It took off, flew over the sail, came back down as I did commentary, and so it was fun. So I've even done a live stream from a DJI drone that was owned by the owner's son, actually by the owner, and so we used that at a big Spokane. Actually, it was Post Falls sale, which is in Idaho. So that was really cool. So have a good night, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight live. I hope you will continue to subscribe and like the videos. The more likes I get tonight will be paid for all of the extra chat, and I can actually get this video out to more people, and I'll try to put chapter markers in it tomorrow when I'm back in the studio getting ready to do my new uploading video. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time.